Hello friends, today we are going to learn about antimicrobial stewardship, which is a very important topic as we are seeing that every day for many of the infection antibiotics are being given, and day by day the new drugs are not coming up, but the drugs which we have already, the resistance is increasing every day. And just to have these antibiotics in our hand, we should know and we should learn how to prescribe these antimicrobial agents following the evidence-based prescribing so that its misuse can be prevented and these antibiotics which have been a gift to us that can be preserved. So without wasting time, let's start. So, introduction of antimicrobial stewardship that it provides the strategy for rationalizing the use of antimicrobials. So basically in the hospitals where these antimicrobial agents are being given, so there should be a proper strategy should be there. For what infection, what antibiotic can be given, we should not jump straight away to the higher drugs which are having the more side effects, as well as they are the last reserve drug which we have. The second thing, the use of right antimicrobial should be given to the right patient at a right time, right dose, and the route frequency. So this is very important when we are talking about the antimicrobial. So we should know the person who can have the side effects using those antimicrobials. So choosing the right patient, choosing the right antimicrobial for that person, and what should be the dose depending upon his condition of the kidney, how is the kidney clearance is there, how his liver is functioning. So everything we have to see when we are prescribing any antimicrobial agent. The beginning of the antibiotic era, which started when Alexander Fleming, who was a Scottish microbiologist who has discovered the drug penicillin from the fungus Penicillium, and that bring a revolution in the history of the mankind. But soon after the beginning of this antibiotic era, the list of antibiotic resistance start coming. So when this antibiotic like streptomycin discovered in 1944, that has been introduced in 1947, within few years only the resistance has been developed by the bacteria against these antibiotic. Like in 1956, when we see the chloramphenicol, it introduced in 1949, and 1970 the resistance has come. So very fast, like tetracycline, which has been introduced in 1952, within 4 years only the resistance has been noted. So there are a big list of the antibiotics where we are dealing with this resistance, and we are left with very few antibiotics in our hand, and day by day we are not having any new drugs, but the older drugs are also having the resistance. Then the IDSA, that is the Infectious Disease Society of America, has found out certain pathogens, and they have said that these are few pathogens which are day by day they are evolving, and they are finding out certain escape mechanism to escape your antibiotics. So these are the pathogens which are commonly found being resistant to more and more drugs like enterococcus. When you see for the enterococcus, so it has already developed resistance to the vancomycin, that is the VRE strains are very common, and newer drugs, only few drugs which are having very high toxicity cannot be given orally, so only those options have been left. The Staphylococcus aureus already having the MRSA strains are there. Then Clostridium difficile, Acinetobacter is also very multi-drug resistant. Pseudomonas is also a highly resistant pathogen, and day by day in the Enterobacteriaceae also the resistance is increasing. Pre-antibiotic era, which was prior to the 1940, when there were no antibiotics were there, the people used to die from very common bacterial infections, and this era of antibiotic it gives the advantage to the human beings to struggle with these microorganisms. But the way the resistance is increasing day by day, and these antimicrobial agents are not able to act on these uh, pathogens. So post antibiotic era is also being suspected that it will come when we will have no antibiotics left, and then again we will end up in that pre antibiotic era only. So we want to prevent this post antibiotic era, and this is very important for all the doctors who are prescribing the antibiotics, that we don't want this post antibiotic era to come. And what is the solution? What is the solution for this problem which is day by day increasing? That is the antimicrobial stewardship. And what is this stewardship? That is the optimal selection, doses, duration of the antimicrobial treatment that will result in the best clinical outcome for the treatment or prevention of infection with minimal toxicity to the patient and minimal impact on subsequent resistance. So we cannot jump and give the same drug, same dose, and without looking for that what is the impact on the pathogen, bacterial pathogen is there, how it will evolve later on. So we have to look all the things, and then we can prescribe the antimicrobial agents. So this antibiotic stewardship was first used by the Society for Healthcare Epidemiology of America and the Infectious Disease Society of America in their joint guideline for the prevention of resistance in hospital. So what is the need of this antimicrobial stewardship? That is the first, the prevention of the antimicrobial resistance, which is day by day growing, and many bacterial pathogens, they are under the pressure of this, because whenever we are over prescribing the antimicrobials, there is a selective pressure, and the bacterial pathogens, they are trying to escape these antimicrobial agents, so they develop certain mechanism how to escape. Second thing, the misuse and the overuse of antimicrobial for many of the self-limited infection, when we are doing the self prescription, when we are not taking the help of the doctor, so at that time there occurs the misuse of the antimicrobials. Then widespread use of antimicrobials in other sectors, so not only in the human beings, even in the animals, these antimicrobial agents are being given for non-therapeutic purpose as well as for therapeutic purpose. So that will also bring about the resistance in the these pathogens. Then the poor antimicrobial research, so that is also very important, as the research for these newer drugs based on the newer mechanisms, so these are very less, and the resistance is spreading very fast. So we are left with only few drugs in our hand. So this is also very important. When we are left with few drugs, so we have to make a this antimicrobial stewardship should be there, so that we can use these antibiotics very efficiently. Then comes the implementation of this antimicrobial stewardship program. So how we can implement this? So for that we need the administrative support. So this is very important because we need the funding as well as we need the infrastructure support when we want uh, for this stewardship program. And second is the formulating the AMS team. That is, a team is being formed which will take the decisions. So it is a multidisciplinary committee, and which will frame, implement and monitor all the antimicrobial policy in the hospital. And there can be several members in this team. कौन member हो सकते हैं? That is, one is very important, that is the clinical microbiologist, or they can be infection control officer or infectious disease physician. Then along with that, there can be the nurses, clinical pharmacist, or officer in charge of the pharmacy. There can be more members also. Then infrastructure support. So infrastructure support is very much needed. So support is needed from the microbiology lab. There can be the automated machines can be there, so that when there is automated machines, so the report will come fast. And the like in culture we need 3 days, but when we are using this Bactec, Bactalert, and the other newer drugs are there like Vitec, Malditoff. So the turnaround time will decrease, and within 24 hours we can get the report. Then we can also take the help of the biomarkers, where we suppose we get a report for the suppose any blood culture we have done, but the sensitivity of this blood culture is poor, like we are getting result in 50 to 60% only, and that also depends that the sample has been taken before the starting of the antibiotics. So at that time when the we are highly suspecting, but the report is coming negative, we can take the help of biomarkers like C-reactive protein is very important. Then we have very good tests like procalcitonin. So we can take the help of these biomarkers. Then molecular tests are also available. We can go for the PCR reaction. Then emergency lab, so that is also required, very important. Then comes the framing the antimicrobial policy. So every hospital should have their own policy, and they should develop, they can develop in a form of a pocket handbook, where the different syndrome have been written, and according to that drug of choice of these antimicrobial agents should be mentioned with their dose. So it will be very useful at the for all the practitioner in that hospital to prescribe and to know which drugs are sensitive in that zone. And this antimicrobial policy should be prepared by this AMS team only, after they have a discussion with a clinician, microbiologist, administrator, so that there should not be any confusion, and a proper policy can be framed. Then now, what are the different strategies for this antimicrobial stewardship? So there are main two type of strategies are being available for implementing this stewardship program. That is, one is a formulating restriction. So formulating restriction, what we do in this, that is, we classify the antimicrobial agents into three categories. One is the restricted, second is semi-restricted, and third is non-restricted. And what is this, how this being classified? That is, the unrestricted or the non-restricted drugs are those which do not need any approval from the this antimicrobial team, stewardship team. Like common drugs like the cephalosporins, first and second generation, like we have fluoroquinolones. So for that, the pharmacy does not need any approval to bring these drugs. Then there is a list of semi-restricted, where the pharmacy for more than 3 days they require the prior approval of the AMS team. So in this list comes like the higher drugs like the vancomycin, daptomycin, linezolid, then the third and fourth generation cephalosporin. And the third list is of the restricted antimicrobials, where the pharmacy supply of more than 1 day that requires the prior approval by the AMS team. So it is the last drug, which are the last reserved drugs like colistin, carbapenems, and the tigecycline. So it is more attractive when we talk about this strategy. It is more attractive, and immediately it has an impact when we look on this. But practically, when we talk about, it is a difficult task, because it creates a lot of confusion. As clinicians, they want freedom. Whenever they are prescribing, they want to choose antimicrobial according to their experience. So that is the when we write on this diary, so they are not satisfied to give the antimicrobial agents according to that list which has been prepared by the team. So that is the biggest problem we face in this. And also one problem is being faced, that is the availability of these consultants all the time. As for the restricted antimicrobials, every time they need the approval by the AMS team, so all the time the consultants are not available. So that can be also a big problem for this strategy. Then comes the prospective audit and feedback. So in this, what is being done, that is there are the round of the team, these AMS teams, they take the round, and whenever they go on round, they discuss with the clinical team there what drugs they are choosing, are they following what has been told, and if they are not following, what's the reason. So it is one to one conversation is there, and the clinician is also free to choose, they can also put their points. So, and they can give justification why the non-compliance has been occurred. Also, this prospective audit and feedback. So, this is a mutually agreed upon the constructive discussion between the team and the clinical team, because it is daily to daily discussions are there, follow-up is there, and this is more widely practiced, it is more widely acceptable by clinicians, and it provides a higher opportunity for educating and training the healthcare professional. But when we see in both the this strategies, when it is a combination of both, so some part can be taken from the first strategy, some part can be taken from the second strategy, that will be the best if we use both the methods simultaneously. So now how we can monitor the compliance to this stewardship program. So one is the policy adherence indicator, whether the antibiotic policy which has been made, either they are following or not. So we can have the audit for that. And in that we can have the prescription compliance as well as the administrative compliance. So what we do in the prescription compliance, we look for the percentage of the time whenever the prescription has been given, empirical treatment has been prescribed or not. That is the syndrome which they have suspected. So whether they have given that empirical treatment which has been told to them, or later on whether they have modified according to when the report has come, like initially when the patient has been reached to the emergency, he has presented with certain symptoms. So with that symptoms, the doctor who is on the duty, he will make a suspected diagnosis, first diagnosis, that is the probable diagnosis. So according to that, empirical treatment has been given or not. Second thing, after that, the sample will be sent to the lab for testing, whatever the doctor is suspecting. So when the reports will come, that will be only the final diagnosis will be made. And if the diagnosis has been changed on the basis of the report, whether the treatment has been modified or not. So that all these things will be looked on, and percentage of the time the culture taken before the treatment, whether before starting the therapy they have sent the sample for culture or not. So these all things are very important. Many times the doctor they prescribe the without giving the samples. So that is a bad habit, because the sample should be gone to the lab, and this is very important, because when a culture is being done, we get a simultaneously report of the antimicrobial susceptibility also. So we are also knowing the pathogen, that will also tell the pathogen is highly resistant or not. Second thing, with the help of this antibiotic susceptibility pattern, we can judge the drug which we are giving is resistant or susceptible, so we can switch over the therapy. So this is very important, and the sample should be taken before the treatment, because if you start the therapy and then you take the sample, maximum time it comes negative. Then the administrative compliance, that is the whether the correct dose of the antibiotic is administered, correct frequency, correct route, all these are being followed or not, and percentage of time the surgical antimicrobial prophylaxis has been administered or not whenever there is any surgery. So that is how we can monitor. Then we can also monitor by use of antimicrobial uses outcome indicator, where we are monitoring कि how much antibiotic have been given, consumption क्या है hospital में antibiotics का. So there are two mechanism. One is the daily defined doses, defined daily doses, and DOT is the days of therapy. So defined daily doses में how it is calculated कि therapeutic dose जो भी prescribe की गई है patient को, सपोज कोई एंटीबायोटिक दी गई है डेली फॉर 7 days, तो डायरेक्टली मल्टीप्लाई करें एंड दैट विल बी द डोजेस, एंड दैट इज अ थेरेपेटिक डोज एंड इट शुड बी डिवाइडेड बाय द WHO डिफाइंड, that is the defined daily dose of the antimicrobial agent. तो उससे उसका DDD will come. Then is the days of therapy. Days of therapy is calculated how many days one antibiotic is being given. If the person has been given two antibiotics simultaneously, so days of both antibiotic will be added up. Agar vancomycin and meropenem both has been given for 3 days, so total days of therapy will be 6 days. So that is how we can calculate. Another is the AMR outcome indicator. That is how this antimicrobial resistance pattern is analyzed by AMR surveillance. They used to check कि किस किस पेशेंट में दिस एंटीबायोटिक्स routinely resistant आ रही है. So that will be very helpful to the hospital whenever they will make the new policy. So to know which strains are coming resistance. Then clinical outcome indicator, so they will check for the morbidity, mortality, okay, morbidity, how much the stay of the patient is there, and what are the deaths, how much infection related deaths are occurring. So there are the clinical outcome indicator. Then financial outcome indicators, so that is the what is the antimicrobial cost per patient day or per year. So that is how we can calculate this financial burden also. So rational use of antimicrobial agents is very important when we want to prevent the development of the resistance to the antimicrobial agents. So it should be given only whenever there is any indication. There are many infections which are self-limited. We do not need the need of this antimicrobial agents, so this should not be prescribed. Overuse नहीं करना है हमें antimicrobial agents का. It is only required because if it is a viral infection and we are giving antimicrobial agents, it is not of any significance, and we are also helping in developing resistance to these agents. Like in case of diarrhea, there is no need of these antimicrobial agents. Mainly ORS is sufficient to treat the patient until unless if there is any bacterial cause for this, like in case of dysentery, or if there is any salmonella infection is there. So until unless it is proven that there is some bacterial pathogen is for the diarrhea, then only the antimicrobial should be given. Then before starting of the antimicrobial, go for the culture, that is site specific sample should be taken and should be sent for culture before starting the this antimicrobials. Then empirical versus targeted therapy. So whenever we are giving the empirical antibiotic, so it should be based on that what infective syndrome we are suspecting based on the chief complaint क्या patient के. Then what are the common etiological agent for that syndrome in that area, and local antibiogram for that infection for those organism in that place. So this is very important depending upon what is in your hospital, what is the antibiogram. Antibiogram means what are the antibiotics which to this pathogen is susceptible to which antibiotics. So किस किस एंटीबायोटिक कौन कौन सी एंटीबायोटिक्स इस पैथोजन पे वर्क कर रही हैं उस लोकल रीजन में, that is the local antibiogram. It is very important. So according to that उसने क्या सिंड्रोम सस्पेक्ट करा, क्या क्या एजेंट्स कॉमन है उस सिंड्रोम के लिए, अकॉर्डिंग टू दैट विच एंटीबायोटिक्स सेंसिटिव है उस पैथोजन पे, सो दैट एम्पेरिकल ट्रीटमेंट शुड बी स्टार्टेड. दैट विल बी अ गुड अप्रोच टुवर्ड्स द treating a patient. And then you have sent the sample, and when the sample report will come, if there is a need to change the antibiotic depending upon the AST report, so that can be changed. That is known as the targeted therapy. So targeted therapy भी two types की हैं, escalation और de-escalation approach. एस्केलेशन में क्या होता है? एस्केलेशन वहां पे क्या आता है जहाँ पे आपका पेशेंट जो है वो क्लिनिकली स्टेबल है एंड इफ द एंटीमाइक्रोबियल रेजिस्टेंस पैटर्न जो है अनलाइकली है, तो वहां पे क्या करते हैं, we used to give the narrow spectrum. Suppose if you are suspected for any infection and you have chosen कि this pathogen usually comes sensitive for many of the antibiotics, so आपने एक narrow spectrum मतलब antibiotic जो है that will be not a broad spectrum usually cover करता है both the gram positive as well as the gram negative. narrow spectrum आपका उसी spectrum को cover करता है. So like you have started a narrow spectrum antibiotic, but जब AST रिपोर्ट आया उसका, तो उसमें वो ड्रग के लिए वो रेजिस्टेंस है, so then you will give a higher antibiotic, so that is known as the escalation. escalate मतलब आपने higher ड्रग दिया. और डी एस्केलेशन अप्रोच होता है जहां पे पेशेंट की कंडीशन क्रिटिकल है, सो वहां पे आप नैरो स्पेक्ट्रम ड्रग कभी नहीं देते हैं. यू ट्राई टू गिव अ ब्रॉड स्पेक्ट्रम बिकॉज यू हैव लेस टाइम. सपोज रिपोर्ट आने में भी यू लाइक कल्चर रिपोर्ट इट टेक्स 3 days. इफ यू आर गोइंग फॉर द ऑटोमेटेड सिस्टम्स, तो वहां पे आपका रिपोर्ट फास्ट आती है. स्टिल when the patient is critical, you don't know what time you have, so you try to cover as much as infection, like you are also covering gram positive as well as gram negative. You are simultaneously also covering for the anaerobic infection. So once and the pathogen is highly suspected to like the symptom you are suspecting, you are also suspecting that a resistant pathogen can be there, so you start with a broad spectrum drug. And when the report comes of this culture report comes and you are seeing that the pathogen is susceptible to many of the drug, so you can de-escalate to a narrow spectrum. तो अब आप उसको specific drug के लिए shift कर देंगे. So that is the escalation and de-escalation approach, that is depending upon कि patient किस स्थिति में आ रहा है. And second thing कि आप जो पैथोजन सस्पेक्ट कर रहे हैं वो उस हॉस्पिटल में या उस लोकल एरिया में what is its resistance pattern. Then comes the site specific antimicrobials, so that is very important. If you are suspecting an infection in the brain CSF, so you have to choose those antibiotics which can cross the blood brain barrier, so which are active in the CSF. If you are suspecting an infection in the urine like UTI, so you have to choose those drugs which are excreted in the urine, then only they will have the urinary concentration. So that you also have to, so जब आप एंटीबायोटिक सस्पेक्ट देते हैं, when you are prescribing the antibiotics, so you have to see all those things कि क्या आप उसमें syndrome सस्पेक्ट कर रहे हैं, what is the condition of the patient, do you have time or not, site specific antimicrobials देने हैं, then only the fast results you will get. Then avoid administration errors. So few antimicrobials का एक तो ये है कि correct dose you have to give, पर उसका जो एज है, बॉडी वेट है, फ्रीक्वेंसी कितना देना है, ड्यूरेशन कितना है, बिकॉज इफ द proper concentration of the drug will not be in the body, then it will not do its work. Like vancomycin, there is a loading dose is needed and then there is a maintenance dose. कुछ ड्रग्स ऐसी होती हैं for that infusion is very much good. So infusion means when you are mixing the drug in the saline and you are giving over 2 to 3 hours. So that is in the case of the vancomycin, the infusion is being chosen. So that is the what route, what is the dose, all these things are very important. Then MIC guided therapy, that is, what is MIC? That is a minimum inhibitory concentration which is needed of the drug to kill that pathogen. So that is also very important to select the drug according to the MIC, that is the dose according to MIC. Then comes the therapeutic drug monitoring. So this we have to also monitor these drugs, that is whether their therapeutic effects, not only basis of the in vitro, like we are checking these drugs action on the plate, antibiotic susceptibility testing जो हम कर रहे हैं, or MIC, minimum inhibitory concentration, which we are measuring for the any antibiotic, that is a vitro. But sometimes many drugs are there जो vitro में तो susceptible दिखा रहा है, but patient में, that is vivo, when we are giving in the patient, at that time it also changes, because vivo में it depends upon pharmacokinetics क्या है drug का, what is the thermodynamics, so that is very important. So we have to check for both. And what is that? That is, certain antibiotics are which are concentration dependent, certain are time dependent. Concentration dependent antibiotics means a higher concentration more than that of MIC. जो MIC है, MIC is the minimal dose of antibiotic जहाँ पे वो बैक्टीरिया को किल कर दे रहा है. So कुछ एंटीबायोटिक लाइक अमीनोग्लाइकोसाइड ये तब ज्यादा अच्छा काम करते हैं when we are giving higher than the MIC of the drug. So इसलिए इनमें हम क्या करते हैं, we give as a loading dose कि वो उसका पीक इमीडिएटली आ जाए and it starts working. So इनको हम बोलते हैं concentration dependent antibiotics. एक होती है time dependent antibiotics which we see in the beta lactams. तो beta lactam में आपके सारे आते हैं, cephalosporin group सारा आता है. So yeah, here what is that? The drug क्या चाहती है कि उसकी जो डोज हो वो MIC से मैक्सिमम टाइम हाई रहे. Therefore ये जो ड्रग्स होते हैं they are usually prescribed 3 times a day. Frequently हम इसको देते हैं so that कि ड्रग का जो लेवल है सीरम में वो उसके MIC से हायर है. So that is, एक होगी कंसंट्रेशन डिपेंडेंट जिसमें हम लोडिंग डोज देते हैं जिससे कि वो हायर पीक आए जल्दी, और एक होता है टाइम डिपेंडेंट जहाँ पे हम we give that antibiotic frequently so that it is maintained above the MIC. Then biomarker guided therapy that I've already told you, CRP बहुत important role play करता है. That will tell अगर CRP raised है, C reactive protein, that will tell you कि it is a infection is there. Procalcitonin, which is very useful in case of the sepsis, also in various infections where it will be helpful to differentiate between the bacterial and viral infection depending upon the different level which is coming for the procalcitonin. It will also help in treatment in the culture negative cases where we are in confusion whether it is a bacteria culture is coming negative and we are suspecting it is a case of infection only. Then it is also helpful in prognosing what is the prognosis of this infection and when to stop the treatment. Then proper use of antimicrobials should be there, and this avoid 2 antimicrobials of same spectrum coverage. This is very important, that like we are giving 2 drugs to a person and both are covering the gram negative, so there is no use of giving 2 antibiotics. So we have to check that we are just giving a 1 drug extra, so that is not needed. So if we have to cover only the gram negative, only 1 drug that can be and have sharing the same spectrum, so we should give only 1 antibiotic. Avoid using the ineffective antibiotics. So if there is a MRSA strain and we are giving any drug which is acting on the MSSA, that is a methicillin, MRSA means methicillin resistant Staphylococcus aureus. So ये किसकी resistant strain होती है Staphylococcus aureus की, इस पे आपकी जो ड्रग्स थी जो कि मेथिसिन सेंसिटिव पे जो होते हैं they will not work. So if we are giving cloxacillin in MRSA strain, so it is ineffective. So we should know if MRSA strain is being coming from the microbiology lab. So we should not give few drugs which will not be effective. Then hospital antibiogram. So this antibiogram is the overall profile of the antimicrobial susceptibility testing, result of the specific microorganism to a battery of antimicrobial agents. So इसमें पूरा प्रोफाइल बनाया जाता है AST टेस्टिंग का कि एक स्पेसिफिक पैथोजन का सपोज हमने स्टेफाइलोकोकस ऑरियस पे वो किस किस ड्रग के लिए कितना % सेंसिटिव आता है, कितना रेजिस्टेंट आ रहा है उस हॉस्पिटल में. So अब पूरा प्रोफाइल बनाया जाता है. So that will be helpful to clinician to judge कि and according to that also we can when we are framing new policy वहाँ पे वो आपको हेल्प करेगा, एम्पेरिकल ट्रीटमेंट में हेल्प करेगा. इट विल यूजफुल फॉर दिस एंटीमाइक्रोबियल रेजिस्टेंस टू नो कितना पैथोजन ज़्यादा रेजिस्टेंट आ रहे हैं कौन, so that will give you a view and it will also be useful to compare the data among the different institutions. So that can be helpful for the national AMR surveillance database. So that is all for the today lecture. If you have any doubt, you can ask me on my mail or in the comment section. Thank you.